In this long video, we're going to talk about a lot of stuff that's going on with Major League Baseball, and it's a very special video because it's holiday related, because I just wanted to give you something that I don't normally do, a long video that talks about all the different things I have on all my different channels, and you get a good taste of what I like to do, not only on the Baseball Hut, but on the Baseball Hut 2, and on the Prospect Hut, and hopefully you enjoy it. So, here you go. Hi everybody, this is the Baseball Hut, the amazing, spectacular, terrific, the great one, the people's champion, your host, the Hut, and welcome back to the Baseball Hut. And hopefully like this video and hit that subscribe button, and of course, Merry Christmas to you all. So I'm going to go over a couple of things with the Mets, and just to give you sort of an idea, I did take Christmas Eve off. I'm sure you were looking for videos on what was going on with the Mets, but I got some stuff here just to give us an update. Obviously, the big signing of this offseason was Juan Soto. I'll have a video on Juan Soto on the Baseball Hut 2. I'm probably going to do a compilation here, so you'll get a whole different thing here from all the channels put into one video. And we're going to talk about Juan Soto in the other video. Rather interesting story that's sort of, I don't know if anyone's really paid attention to it, but an ex-coach with the Yankees is not saying nice things about Soto, and he never played under him. So strange. This must be coming from Aaron Boone. But we'll have something on that, and I'll have something on the Mets prospects too. But first up, as you know, the Mets signed Juan Soto to a 15-year, $765 million contract. It's a lot of money. They will say this, the Mets went all out to get that player, and they got him. Steve Cohen got him. He set his mind to get a player, and he got him. It's the right player for the right spot, and really, I'll have some interesting things about Soto, and why one of the many reasons that he left was one just about family, obviously the money, but we'll see. And he gives the Mets a big-time elite hitter in the middle of this lineup, and that will give the Mets right now 2 elite players and possibly a third with Mark Vientos. Mark Vientos has to do it again offensively to be put on a high level. He did a great job last year. We need to see him do it again. But here's from MLB Trade Rumors. MLB Notes, or Mets Notes. Peterson, Alonso, third base, and the rotation. Mets have already added one of the best left-handed hitters in the game this offseason, signing Juan Soto to a 15-year, $765 million deal. However, John Heyman of the New York Post suggests they were recently in on another lefty bat, Jock Peterson. That was, of course, before Peterson agreed to a 2-year, $37 million contract with the Rangers early on Monday morning. Now, a couple other things that came out on Tuesday was that the Mets were in on Carlos Santana. That they were talking to him, and they were very serious about signing him. And obviously signed a 1-year deal to actually go back to the Cleveland Guardians. So that the Mets are in on all these players, which is great. Presumably, the Mets are interested in Peterson as a DH. Coming off an excellent 2024 campaign, he would have made a strong replacement for JD Martinez. Like Peterson, Martinez became a free agent at the end of the season. If the Mets are still in the market for a DH after losing out on Peterson, their options are somewhat limited. Martinez might be the best true DH left in free agency. They could, of course, pursue an outfielder like Anthony Santander or Teoscar Hernandez, but those two are looking for significantly more money than Peterson, and presumably they would prefer to continue playing the outfield. These guys have qualifying offers. And I don't know what the Mets' appetite is with that. I would say also the Mets are very interested, and they talked about this, bringing back Jesse Winker, which wouldn't be a problem at all for me. Nightingale, however, if it's just another big bat the Mets are looking for, the best solution could also be the most straightforward. Re-sign first baseman Pete Alonso. Bob Nightingale of USA Today reported on Sunday the Mets are still pushing hard to re-sign their homegrown slugger. I would think that probably sometime in January they'll sign him. I don't think anything's going to happen next week or even after Christmas. It's difficult to imagine Alonso ended up anywhere else. Teams like the Yankees and Astros have already filled their holes at first base. We know the Yankees signed Paul Goldschmidt, and of course the Astros signed that 3-year deal for Christian Walker. And when the Mets set their sights on a target, they're not easy to outbid. No, they're not. Nightingale also notes that the Mets like their internal options at third base. In other words, he implies they aren't likely suitors for star third baseman Alex Bregman. However, it's not clear if that is all contingent on the team re-signing Alonso. If Alonso is back in Queens next season, Mark Vientos is the obvious candidate to play third base. Vientos was one of the team's best hitters in 24 while also providing capable defense at the hot corner. I know he was a negative defensive run saved, but I thought his defense had gotten better. The thing that he has that's really good, he's got a strong arm. But he needs more work with his footwork. He needs to improve that. And he needs to be able to do a better job with his hands. A lot of that is practice. This argument continues. Yet, if Alonso signs elsewhere, Vientos is likely to move across the diamond and take over at first. Simply put, there's a massive difference between Vientos and the next best option at third base, which seems to be former top prospect and unproven big leaguer. That's being very mild. Brett Beatty. The other internal options include Ronnie Mauricio, who spent the entire 2024 season on the injured list, and Luis Angel Acuna, second base and shortstop, who has never played third base professionally. It's hard to believe the Mets would feel confident going into the season with a more reliable player at third base. Now Mauricio could play third, in my opinion, from what I saw in that month. He's got strong. He actually has a better arm than Vientos, and I think he would be good at third, but he hasn't played. That's the problem with Mauricio. Ronnie hasn't played. Obviously, with that injury, and it's taken him a long time. And from what I understand, he's just beginning to do baseball activity. But he did not. I mean, I thought he looked pretty good at third. I think he could probably handle it. He's not a bad looking shortstop. He's probably too big for shortstop, but we'll see. We'll see what his spring training is going to be like. It's easy to accept the notion that the Mets are done after adding to their rotation, which Will Simon of The Athletic suggests in this case. After agreeing to a 3-year, $75 million deal with Sean Manaea, Mets have now signed 3 notable free agent starters. Frankie Montas and Clay Holmes. Manaea, Frankie Montas, and Clay Holmes. Those 3 will join Kodai Senga and David Peterson in the rotation. But Paul Blackburn, Griffin Canning, and Tyler McGill offer an additional depth. Top prospect Brandon Sproat is another arm who could start for the Mets at some point in 2025. And of course, keep an eye on Blade Tidwell. We mentioned about Clay Holmes. He hasn't been a starter really for the most. He's got 4 major league starts in the majors now. Since 2018 for the Pittsburgh Pirates, and also he was a starter in most of his career in the minors. He did not want to be in a relief role. But we'll see what kind of pitcher the Mets, what kind of starter he develops into with the Mets. If it doesn't work out, he'll be the setup man for this club. I have no problem there. And Griffin Canning. And let's think about Griffin Canning. From what I was reading, the Mets seem very, very high on him. They feel like they can really maximize his ability. Now last year he gave up 31 home runs with the Angels. They said that there was an issue with his 4-seam fastball. As you know, 4-seam fastball goes up in the strike zone. And that is probably the easiest fastball to hit is that 4-seamer because it goes up. From what I understand, they're trying to make some kind of adjustment, plus do some other things with the secondary pitchers. And the belief is, I don't know if I believe that. I saw him a little bit last year. I don't know if I believe this. They think that they can make him into an elite pitcher. With their pitching line, we'll see. They were able to do a lot with the Sean Manaea, and obviously they did a lot with Luis Severino, which were great, finds for the Mets. With Senga and Manaea occupying the top 2 spots in the rotation, Mets don't have a bona fide ace like Zach Wheeler of the Phillies, Chris Sale of the Braves. However, their starting pitching depth looks like it's going to be an asset. They would surely find room for Roki Sasaki if the MPB superstar chooses to sign in Queens, but otherwise, Mets seem to have all the starters they can carry to begin the 2025 campaign. That is the only move I've heard that the Mets are willing to make is bringing in Sasaki to put in the rotation. Someone asked me, what kind of rotation are we looking at? Who's going to be out of it? I could see them doing a 6-man rotation. Because obviously you'll have 2 pitchers in this rotation. It'll be Japanese pitchers. And here's the thing about Sasaki. He's 23 years old, 24 years old. His innings limit is about what it would be if he was 23 here in the States if he was from North America and from the West. His innings would be very similar. So I'm not too concerned about the innings and stuff like that. But the Mets are in it with a lot of other teams. Apparently he's talked to the Cubs, the White Sox, believe it or not, the Rangers, the Mariners, the Yankees. I don't know where he stands, but we'll find out very, very quickly. So let me know what you think about this video. And of course, please subscribe to the Baseball Hut. Have a good day and Merry Christmas, and I'll see you later. Well, welcome back to the Prospect Hut. Hopefully you like this video and hit that subscribe button. So we're going to talk about the impact that the Mets have had on what they're going to have with their position players, particularly the minor leaguers and their prospects because of the Juan Soto signing. This is from SNY.TV. It's, when you sign a big player like this, it has a domino effect throughout your whole organization. That can't be ever forgotten. There are limited spots for the bevy of near big league ready position player prospects in the system. When the Mets landed Juan Soto on the biggest contract in the history of North America sports, it created a potential ripple effect or domino effect throughout the organization. It starts with the huge plus that the Mets added one of the best offensive players in baseball at the age of 26. Right field is now locked up in Queens for the foreseeable future, and with Francisco Lindor and Brandon Nimmo locked in long-term as well, so is shortstop in left field. On the other side of the coin, the likelihood isn't a long-term solution center field on this roster, as Jose Siri and Tyrone Taylor are currently slated to split time there at the beginning of this year. Jeff McNeil projects to start at second, and while he has 2 years and a club option remaining on his current deal, but to bounce back this season to keep a hold on that spot. Having core pieces the caliber of Soto, Lindor, Nimmo, and others is a great thing as the Mets look to build on their 2024 success that led to a trip to the NLCS. But the fallout of those pieces being in place is that there are limited spots available for the bevy of near big league ready position players, prospects in the system, which includes Jeff Williams, Drew Gilbert, Ronnie Mauricio, and Luis Angel Acuna. All four of those players either recently ranked or currently ranked among the top 100 prospects in the sport. And in SNY's latest top 30 list, which I did a video on this channel, I projected MLB ETAs for Williams and Gilbert in 2025, while Mauricio and Acuna have already debuted. Williams and Acuna project as pure up-the-middle players to the next level, having spent time at short, second, and center field during their minor league careers. Prior to tearing his ACL last December, Mauricio showed the ability to play both second and third. He recently began baseball activities again, and it will be important to see how his athleticism and lateral quickness rebound from the major surgery. And it's taken him a long time to come back, from what David Stearns has said. Gilbert, on the other hand, is more of a convoluted discussion. While he can play center and should get opportunities there, evaluators believe his best fit long-term might be in a corner outfield spot, with right field being the best spot for his plus arm. Now, the thing about Gilbert and his arm, he was a two-way player in high school, and he became an outfielder purely when he played for the Tennessee Volunteers, and he has a gun. He's got a right fielder's arm. So I'm sort of wondering that if he were to get to the majors, they'll do some kind of mixing and matching, putting him in center and then putting him in right, and put Soto in left and DH, and at some point Brandon Nimmo. I think Brandon Nimmo's future will be as a DH eventually, just to get him off his feet, especially as he gets older. And they'll put Soto in left field. Right field is not a great fielding place for a guy that's not a great fielder. And that'll be a real challenge for Soto and the Mets to figure out how he's going to be in right field. It's a big reason why they brought in Jose Siri, who's probably the best defensive center field in the game. Prospects provide significant value to an organization in one of two ways: becoming a key part of the 26-man roster for being used as part of a trade, impact a part of the roster in need. Maintaining depth is important. One of the toughest parts of the job from David Stearns is not only decide which process to keep or move, but also the timing on when to execute those decisions. The question is if now for the time for Stearns to execute one of those trades. Mets have a clear need for stability in the rotation. Now this is a little bit outdated, but they did sign Sean Manaea. But there are other names on the market that are free agents. They mentioned Corbin Burns is still a free agent. Nick Pivetta is still a free agent. They have qualifying offers. I've not heard the Mets really connected to Burns at all. I heard them connected to Pivetta, but the Mets signed Manaea. They're not going to bring those guys in. During the winter meetings, the Mets made a push for Garrett Crochet, which got traded to the Red Sox. Dylan Cease, whose name is out there. Jesus Lazaro got traded to the Phillies. And Pablo Lopez, recently, he's of the Twins. And then, of course, we got Luis Castillo, the Mariners. It seems like the Mets are out on the Mariners and any kind of trade with that. So really, the two names that would keep an eye on with the Mets, just in particular, is Dylan Cease and Pablo Lopez. But I don't think the Mets are going to make any moves now with a big trade. Williams only appeared in 55 games between the minors and Arizona Fall League after undergoing wrist surgery this season. Could that potentially impact him being a headline of a big trade? The Mets don't view Gilbert as a long-term center fielder. He could make sense as a piece to move to add to the rotation. Could Acuna be a possible sell-high candidate? He didn't have a big statistical season down in AAA, but he made a huge impact at the big league level down the stretch. It was only 2 weeks, 39 bats. Mauricio likely will need to reestablish his health before teams are calling on him, outside of seeking a buy low situation. Now I would hold off on trading him just to get his value back up. In addition to the names above, the Mets also have young players like their baseman Brett Beatty, who is yet to establish himself at the big league level. It's a real struggle. And first baseman Ryan Clifford, who finished with 18 homers and an 815 OPS, after being promoted to Double-A at just 20 years old. Now here's the thing about Clifford. He strikes out a lot. He's been striking out a lot this past year, even in Double-A. And after the fast start he got in Double-A, he cooled down the last month. He needs to repeat Double-A, in my opinion. Just from what I read, and just he's got a very low batting average. I believe the batting average was under 200 for the whole season. So he has a lot of work to do as a hitter. Gets on base, he knows the strike zone, but he's got to get that average up, and he's got to stop striking out so much. You know, that's something to keep an eye on. There also is 2024 first round pick out for the Carson Bench from Oklahoma, who could move quickly through the minors. He was a two-way player in college. He could be a right fielder or center fielder. He could be a really very good player. He's got power, speed, he's got everything. But we'll see. Signing Soto was a monumental franchise-altering move. What comes from it is that Stearns will now have to make the hard decision on which players will be part of this core and this team going forward, and which of them benefit the organization more as a trade chip this winter or at the deadline. Now, the belief is with the Mets that they will sign a big bat this offseason, probably Pete Alonso, and maybe or maybe not sign another player before we get to spring training, or they'll make a deal at the deadline for another bat. But we'll see. But this is the kind of effect of a big player like Soto come to the Mets, not just through the Major League team, but also through the farm system as well. So you let me know what you think about this video. And of course, please subscribe to the Prospect Hut, and I'll see you later. Hi, everybody. This is the Baseball Hut, the amazing, spectacular, terrific, the great one, the People's Champion, your host. Welcome back to the Baseball Hut 2, and hopefully you like this video and hit that subscribe button. I would mention before we get started, a lot of conjecture here, a lot of rumors that I've heard about what happened with the Yankees and Juan Soto. So just keep that in mind. This is just based off of rumors, and there are players here. I will not mention their names. You can figure it out on your own. Who Juan Soto had problems with, and we'll get into it. And this is a video where an ex-coach, and he didn't coach Juan Soto, but he's a very good friend of Aaron Boone, and he has some things to say on his his podcast. I mean, you know, Sean Casey is one of these players. He's probably a funny baseball player. You know. And they called him the mayor because he didn't stop talking. So I guess this might be a situation where he just didn't know when to shut up. And he gets to provide such great and wonderful content for your host here at this small little backup channel that I have here at the Baseball Hut 2. But let me read you from the Sporting News. There were other articles. This was a tough article to find because I found this on NJ.com. But NJ.com has a paywall. Like, I ain't paying for that. So this is like a watered down version. But I did read some of the things that Sean Casey, the former Red, and that's where he played with Aaron Boone. They played with the Reds. And former Tiger and Pirate. But here's from the Sporting News. The Yankees ex-coach harshly discredits Juan Soto's success in 2024 after the Mets move. Now, Juan Soto was one of the greatest things since sliced bread when he hit that home run that beat the Guardians in the NLCS to get to the World Series. But since then, he's trash, absolute trash. And here we go from the Sporting News. Yankees ex-coach harshly describes Juan Soto's success in 2024 after Mets move. The New York Yankees lost Juan Soto to the New York Mets this winter. Did you know that? Did you happen to know that? I didn't know that. I have to do videos on it every day. The move was not well received. No, it was not. Yankee fans are still mad, and people that are behind the scenes with the Yankees are mad. And the Yankees basically went rage spending since that happened 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, whatever it was. And one former coach is discrediting Soto's 2024 season with the Yankees. Yankees former hitting coach Sean Casey made some harsh comments about Soto's Yankees tenure on his podcast, The Mayor's Office. Again, they called him the mayor because you couldn't shut him up when you went to first. This guy likes the bullshit. Casey spent time as the Yankees hitting coach in 2023. He has never coached Soto, but that did not stop him from discrediting some of his greatness. Now, again, he's good friends with Aaron Boone. And I wonder if this is stuff that's coming from Aaron Boone himself, pissed off that Soto left. Because there's a lot of crazy stuff going on in that clubhouse, supposedly. That did not go well with Soto. Quote, don't forget, Juan Soto's numbers were no doubt inflated this year with Aaron Judge hitting behind him, Casey said. You take Paul Goldschmidt and you stick him in that lineup with some heavy hitters. I guarantee his production goes way up. Now, I was looking at his numbers from 2023 to 2024. On the surface, the biggest number that jumps out at you is the run score. Juan Soto led the American League runs scored. He had 6 more home runs than he did the year before in 2023, 35 to 41. He had the same amount of RBIs. His on-base percentage, which is very important for him, was lower than his average over his career. His OPS was higher. That's on-base plus slugging was higher. His slugging percentage was higher, hitting in front of Aaron Judge. And the OPS plus was much higher too. But I would mention, Paul Goldschmidt's a great player, but he is not, first of all, he's not left-handed, and he's kind of on the way down. He's past his prime. Juan Soto's 26 years old. Let me continue with the article. Casey noted that the real reason Soto had the best year of his career was the effect Horseface had on the lineup. Casey went as far as to say anybody hitting around Judge would have a great year. However, fans would be pressed to ignore the Yankees' World Series run during Soto's 1 year on the team. However, Casey felt that he was simply a compliment to Judge. He's no compliment. Last year, he was saying nice things about that deal. Quote, but Juan Soto has also been on teams that didn't win. When he went on to San Diego, they were out there, and he's on that team. They didn't win with Machado and Tatis, Casey said. I don't know if they even made the playoffs that 1 year. They had to rally at the end to figure it out. Regardless of fans' opinions on Soto, he gave the Yankees a magical season that ended in an American League championship. However, the move to the Mets will undoubtedly leave a sour taste in the mouths of fans, only Yankee fans, for the rest of their lives. I mean, the rest of his career. No, the rest of their lives. They'll never forgive Juan Soto. Also, during this podcast, Uh, this blabbermouth, big mouth, the blabbermouth's off is pretty good. Now I think about it. This blabbermouth said that Soto wasn't a winning player. He did say that. I don't have the direct quote, but I did read that he did say that he was not a winning player. He fails to mention that Soto had won a World Series with the Nationals in his second season at 20 years old. He failed to mention the fact that he has the highest on base percentage currently in the major leagues. He consistently leads the league in walks. Consistently, he's considered one of the best hitters in baseball since he came up from the minors. He's a top 3 player in the whole entire game. He's a player that complemented this team because he's left-handed, and for whatever strange reason, Brian Cashman loves to surround his team with all strong right-handed hitters. Cody Bellinger aside, he signed Paul Goldschmidt. Why did he do that? You can't get a first baseman that's left-handed, And you got Stanton here. You got Judge here. They're all right-handed, and the reason they went to the World Series is because they had a more balanced lineup with Soto in the middle of it. And he makes your lineup better. Is he a great fielder? No. Is he a great base runner? No. But the guy does one thing that most hitters can't do. He hits everybody. He's an elite hitter. He hits every type of pitching. And he's a smart hitter, too. And that's something you want to have on your team. And I'm not just saying that because he's with the Mets. I would not have been better if he re-signed with the Yankees. But the Yankee fans are so bitter because they've never had anybody take a player away. They all wanted him, folks. We all know that. Every Yankee fan worth their weight in gold knows that they wanted Soto back here in the worst way. And they wanted to say, if the Mets didn't sign, well, the Mets are going to Mets. LOL Mets, they can't do that no more. Ha ha, ha ha, ha ha, ha ha, ha ha. Can't do that anymore. That's what irks the Yankee fans so much. Is they can't do that stuff anymore. When they've been wanting to do that for this whole year. And again, no one ever said anything nasty about the player until we got to the offseason, and they were getting very nervous. And then said, there's a lot of money. Glad the Mets didn't spend that. I'm glad the Yankees didn't spend that money. They put that money out. You think about all the moves the Yankees made. Are they any better than they were last year? This is not a great American League. The American League sucks, okay? They can get back to the World Series. But the balance in that lineup is not what it was. Cody Bellinger, as good as he is, or was, he's not Juan Soto. Paul Goldschmidt, past his prime. Let's see if Paul Goldschmidt can hit 40 home runs bat in front of Aaron Judge. We'll see. And they signed Paul Goldschmidt because he's good friends with Aaron Judge. Now, I would mention, before I forget, there were rumors, and I heard these rumors last week, of why Soto didn't want to be here, this whole family angle thing. When I was hearing, I was very surprised this was happening, and I guess when they were traveling, I guess on the buses and on the planes, that some Yankee players were smoking pot. I'm not going to tell you who, because I'm not going to say anything bad about these players. But we know that Soto doesn't drink, he doesn't smoke, he doesn't do anything. He plays the game, goes home, lives with his mother. And it seems that he didn't really like being around that. And if you're a family man, you don't want to be around that stuff. You can figure out who it is. One is probably not going to be a Yankee next year, I think. And one is going to be a Yankee. One is an infielder, one is an outfielder. You could figure it out. I think people are pretty smart. You can figure it out. But that's one of the reasons why he didn't want to be back with the Yankees. And he did delete his phone. He changed his phone number, from the Yankees. Also mentioned, not one Yankee has come out and said not one nice thing about him since he left. Aaron Judge has said nothing other than that he didn't talk to him once he signed. Once he was out in the out there on the market, Not one Yankee has said anything nice about him. Not one Yankee said, thank you for being here with the year. Nothing. Yankees haven't said anything because they're so angry that he left. If they won a World Series and he still went to the Mets, I think they still wouldn't have said anything, to be honest with you. The classy Yankee organization. Oh, well. The Mets will win a World Series in the next 15 years, I would hope. I think within the next 5 years, the Mets will win. So it doesn't matter what and it doesn't really matter what the Yankees do. They still have the same guy running the club that hasn't won in a long time. And he's got 2 more years, I guess, and then he's going to, hit the old dusty trail. That's Brian Cash and one of the Three Stooges. But you let me know what you think about this video. And, of course, please subscribe to the Baseball Hut 2. And I'll see you later. Hi, everybody. This is the Baseball Hut. The amazing, spectacular, terrific, the great one, the people's champion. Your host, welcome back to the Baseball Hut 2. And hopefully, thank God, hopefully you like this video. Hit that subscribe button. So we're going to talk about predicting where every team's number 1 prospect is going to be a year from now. There's all 30 teams. Happy holidays. That's Merry Christmas. Yeah, we'll start the teams. We're going to start at. And this is all in alphabetical order. So if you're a Mets fan, you're going to have to wait a little bit. This is from the Angels. Right now, they have Caden Dana as right-handed pitcher. He's their best prospect right now. Next year, expect Jace Laviolette, outfielder. And they will have the number 2 pick. We have the Angels taking Texas A&M slugger Laviolette with the number 2 pick. I'll have plenty of videos in 2025 on the draft. So this is the one thing this channel will do a lot of moving forward. So if you like that stuff, hit the subscribe button. Next up, the Astros. Cam Smith, who's acquired in the Kyle Tucker trade. He'll be the big prospect this year and next year. Recently acquired from the Cubs in the Kyle Tucker trade, Smith is one of 10 first-rounders from 2024 forecast to rank as the team's best prospect next December. Next up, the A's. The Philadelphia, Kansas City, here we come. Oakland, Las Vegas, Sacramento. It doesn't matter. Nomad, homeless athletics. This year will be shortstop Jacob Wilson. And next year will be first baseman Nick Kurtz. A's will pass the torch from the 23 first round to their 2024 first rounder, neither of whom will require much time in the minors. The A's are going to be much better, I think, than people realize. They were not bad last year. They were getting better as the season went on, and that lineup is pretty good. Next up, the Blue Jays. Right now, it's right-handed pitcher Trey Yasavage. And next year will be Arjun Namala. After an early season slump and time in the development list, Namala slashed .265 with 13 homers in his final 53 games as an 18-year-old in Single A. The Braves are up. The scum-sucking Braves. Left-handed pitcher Cam Caminiti will be this year and next. Consensus top high school pitcher in the 2024 draft has 3 potential plus pitches and athleticism on his side. He's going to take a while to develop. Next up, the Brewers. Right now, it's Jefferson Quarles, a catcher. Next year will be Jesus Maid, shortstop and third baseman. Maid has yet to make his U.S. debut, but looks like a potential 2025 shortstop or third baseman with a strong arm for every position. Next up is the Cardinals, and we have J.J. Weatherholt, shortstop, second baseman, with this year and next. Weatherholt might have gone number 1 overall in the 24 draft if not for a hamstring injury. His pure hitting ability should make him a steal at number 7. The Cubs. Right now we got infielder Matt Shaw. Next year we'll have, according to MLB.com, Cade Horton, a right-handed pitcher. Horton was making a case for being the team's best pitching prospect before straining his right lat in late May, and the Cubs will ease him back next season. The Diamondbacks. This year is Jordan Lawler, shortstop, and next year will be Drew Jones, an outfielder. After injuries ruined his first 2 seasons in Pro Bowl, Jones is starting to show why he went second overall in the 2022 draft. He's the son of Andrew Jones. It'll be interesting to see if Andrew Jones gets into the Hall of Fame this year, and he should. Next up are the Dodgers. Right now it's Dalton rushing a catcher outfielder next year. Will be Josu DePaula, outfielder. DePaula is still just 19, but he already has handled high A, and his huge offensive ceiling is obvious. And the Dodgers always do a great job developing great players. Right now, the Giants' best prospect is Bryce Elbridge, a first baseman. Next year, we Jay Dobbs, an outfielder. The writer says, I'm not fully sold that Eldridge will graduate next year, but if he does, his Dib's penchant for making good swing decisions and hard contact will make him a worthy successor. The Guardians, right now at second base is Travis Bazzana, and next year will be Jason Chourio. Now, I would mention about Bazzana, he's probably going to be playing every day in the majors with the Guardians. I think that he'll get a good shot at it in spring training. Chourio may not have older brother Jackson's power, but he's a switch hitter with otherwise solid or better tools across the board. Interesting. But Chourio, his brother, does a great job. He's really good at everything. Next up are the Mariners. We got Colton Emerson, shortstop, second base, now be for next year as well. The Mariners have a lot of impressive young hitters, and Emerson's combination of bat-to-ball skills and developing power makes him the best of the bunch. Next up, the Marlins. They have Thomas White, left-handed pitcher, this year and next year. White showed the possibility of 3+ pitches and looked more advanced than expected while carving up high A hitters at age 19. The one thing about the Marlins, they have zero talent in minor leagues in terms of position players. They have a lot of pitching, no position players. The Mets, if you're a Met fan, you want to hear. This year will be Brandon Sprout, right-handed pitcher. And next year will be Jet Williams, shortstop, outfield. Well, we'll see. We'll see how the development of Carson Bench from Oklahoma takes place. Williams' hitting ability, patience plus speed, and sneaky power for a 5'6" guy might make him an ideal leadoff man. We'll see about him. That was the one thing. He got picked, 11th overall in the 2022 draft by the Mets. But the belief is that if he was a bigger kid, if he was over 6 feet tall, he would have went much higher in the draft. So he's a guy to keep an eye on. And like I said, Carson Bench could be on this at some point. The Nationals will have the number 1 pick this year in 2025. This year they got Dylan Cruz, who's the number 2 pick of the 2023 draft. And then next year they're saying that Ethan Holiday, who's not with any team right now, will probably be picked number 1. The Nationals will replace our current number 1 prospect in the top 100 list with the number 1 overall pick in next year's draft. He's obviously the brother of Jackson Holiday and the son of Matt Holiday, and he does not look like he's 10 years old, like Jackson does. Next up, the Orioles. We got Kobe Mayo at third base, first base this year, and then next year we got Samuel Baslow, catcher, first base. Baslow reached AAA 2 weeks after his 20th birthday, but the Orioles lineup is crowded, and his catching needs work, so he may not graduate to the big leagues in 2025. Next up is, this year, is Ethan Salas, the catcher. And next year will be Leo Dallas DeVries, shortstop. Now, Salas isn't going to graduate to San Diego's 19-year-old next summer. He's very good, but DeVries is better. Okay? Ethan Salas is considered the best catching prospect in the game. The Phillies. We got Alden Miller, a shortstop. Their baseman Miller will be the guy for next year. Miller will be on the short list of the best offensive prospects in baseball by the end of 2025. Next up, the Pirates. Right now is Bubba Chandler, right-handed pitcher. And next year will be Connor Griffin, shortstop, outfielder. Griffin possesses the best all-around tools in the 24 draft and could be a 30-30 guy who provides quality defense at short or wins gold gloves in center field. Interesting. For the Rangers, we got Sebastian Walcott. This year and next year, Walcott doesn't get enough credit for hitting .265 with 54 extra base hits and 27 steals in 121 games between high A and double A at age 18. It'll be interesting to see where he ends up when he gets to the majors, because obviously they got Corey Seager at short. Here we got the Rays. We got Carson Williams, shortstop. Next year, Theo Gillen, outfielder. A guy who was the best hitter in the 24 prep class and also has plus raw power and well above average speed. Gillen flies under the radar more than he should. Red Sox. This year's Roman Anthony. Outfielder next year will be Franklin Arias. Shortstop. Though Marcelo Mayer, number 7 on the top 100, has more pop, the less heralded Arias offers more speed and superior defense at shortstop. Next up, the Reds, who are going to be a very interesting team. They're going to be very competitive in the National League Central. They're going to be really tough, especially with that manager. They got the best manager in the division. They have Chase Burns, a right-handed pitcher, and the son of Luke Collier, Cam Collier, will be next year. Collier played 2 full seasons in the minors as a teenager, boosting his OPS 93 points while making the jump to high A last season and out-homering his age. Next up, the Rockies. Got Charlie Condon, one of the big hitters in the college ball this year and next year. The rough debut doesn't scare anybody, as they'll continue to believe in the guy with the best combination of hitting ability, power, and plate discipline in the 2024 draft. Next up, the Royals. Jack Caglianone, and he'll be for next year too. The comment on Condon and his debut also applies to Caglianone, who generates some of the best raw power you'll ever see. They call him Jack Tani, and he's a left-handed hitter, left-handed pitcher. He'll probably be basically an everyday player. He's not going to be a pitcher for long. Next up, the Tigers. Jackson Jobe right now, and then Max Clark next year. Imagine Clark as Pete Crow Armstrong with a little less defense but better hitting ability and speed. The Twins, Walker Jenkins, a lot of 23 guys. Outfielder, and he'll be next year too. Jenkins is depicted ranked number 1 in the top 100 a year from now, though it's possible he could graduate to the majors this season at age 20. Next up are the White Sox, the horrible, terrible, historically bad White Sox. Nola Schultz, left-handed pitcher this year, and then next year, Hagen Smith, another left-handed pitcher. Schultz is so dominant that he may force his way to Chicago at age 21, but the White Sox have another overwhelming lefty ready to headline their list. Finally, on this list, I'm sure you're waiting. The New York Yankees. Right now, they got an alien and Jason Dominguez, a.k.a. the Martian, at the top. And then next year, they'll have George Lombard Jr. Look for Lombard to be one of the breakout prospects of 25 as he continues to develop at the plate, while providing quality defense at shortstop. Well, let me know what you think about this video. And, of course, please subscribe to the Baseball Head 2, and I'll see you later. I hope you all had a wonderful holiday. Hopefully you all have a great new year. I appreciate all the time you take to watch my videos. And, of course, Merry Christmas. May you have a great year. And I'll see you later.